Ben Simmons might also be the weakest, most pathetic excuse for a professional athlete we have ever seen in not just American history, but the history of sports. I can't think of a professional athlete that has come across more pathetic than this man.
This situation with Ben Simmons is something extraordinary. Ben Simmons has essentially screwed over both the 76ers and the Brooklyn Nets because he hasn't played a single game this entire season. This isn't a Kyrie situation. He has the shots. He has refused, for whatever reason or another, to play an NBA game. And the effect that that's going to have on the league is disastrous. Like, this is pathetic, the situation. I don't want to say on a personal level that Ben Simmons did this or that, because, there are reasons people do these things. He might be having mental issues. He might be having a lot of stress. You never know. But this guy has not touched the basketball since last season. And we all know what happened. He can't play in the playoffs properly. He can't support his team. At least with the 76ers, Last year was supposed to be his breakout season. People trusted him to be able to, have that starting role on the Sixers. He hasn't done a damn thing. And it's a shame. Now, I'm making this as the Brooklyn Nets are down 3-0 against the Boston Celtics in the first round. There's a big likelihood that they're going to lose. If they don't, I'm going to add something at this part of the video. But it's just sad, the situation. Because Kevin Durant has played terribly. Kyrie's played good, but he can't carry the team by himself. And all the bench players range from decent to washed. Like, you have a bad situation on your team when you're relying on Blake Griffin to save your team in garbage time. He hasn't been relevant in any meaningful way in basketball since he was in LA with Chris Paul. And that was ages ago. That's sad. If you're relying on someone like him to guide your team to success, that's not a good look. But this video isn't about Kevin Durant. This video isn't about Kyrie Irving. It's mostly about Ben Simmons, because I actually want to say that given all the stuff that's happened in the NBA across its entire history, this might be the most spectacular failure of a single player I've ever seen. Again, I want to reiterate, the Kyrie situation was completely understandable. He didn't want to take his shots, that's his problem. But this is just sad. Ben Simmons, who may be injured, maybe not, may have mental issues, maybe not. He's not communicating any of that. His agents aren't communicating any of that. Has not played a single game this season, and as a result, has made the teams he's been on worse. He's been sitting on the bench. He's been bench riding in ridiculous outfits, just sitting there in his street clothes while the rest of his team is in jerseys. He's not even touched the ball once for this team. The last time this guy Ben Simmons played any sort of basketball was in June of last year. He's on a different team now. That was back when he was with the Philadelphia 76ers. He's on a completely different team now. He has not touched the basketball since then. And people were hopeful he'd return for Game 4. Because let's be honest, this Nets team, like, they're an 8th seed for a reason, 7th seed for a reason, bro. They suck, sort of. Like, without KD, without Kyrie, they suck. They're not a good team, respectfully. And it's made so much worse by the fact this guy doesn't want to play. He doesn't want to play. Harden, who's had a diminished role, who I want to say is becoming washed, has had more of an impact on the 76ers than Ben Simmons has his entire career there. Do you know how sad that is? It's like ever since Kawhi hit that shot, like, the 76ers haven't been moving everywhere. People have moved on. Joel Embiid has moved on. Our Raptors are down 3-1, we the North. Our Raptors are down 3-1, unfortunately. Hopefully we beat them tonight. Probably not. But he's done nothing. People expected him to be at least, at very, very minimum, like, moving in between the bench and the starting position, because he's that kind of player. He might not be an all-star every year, but he at least has the productivity. He at least has the skills to do so. He hasn't done a damn thing. Like, seriously, it's sad. It's pathetic. I don't mean to shit on him this badly. But if I was anybody, I wouldn't care. I wouldn't care if he was, like, badly injured. If he had, like, an injury like Klay Thompson did, if he teared ligaments in both of his legs and couldn't play for 2 years, I completely understand that. Klay Thompson's being productive for the Golden State Warriors. He has not done anything. We're almost at the end of the 2022 season. This entire season, he hasn't done anything. Now, I want to say for the record that this situation has been brewing for quite some time now. There's always been this sort of aura around Ben Simmons that he doesn't know how to play basketball properly. And that's really, really tough to say. Especially because this guy was a number one pick. For those of you who don't know, he was a number one pick in the NBA draft. He was promising, But where his peers in Trae Young, John Morant, people that came after him, people that came before him, are actually having meaningful effects on their teams for both Philadelphia and Brooklyn, Ben Simmons has done nothing. Nothing of note. Nothing at all. Nothing. Zero. Nada. For such a large investment, for such a popular player, not even popular anymore, he's done zero, had 0% of an effect on every team he's been on. And their teams are suffering because of this, This guy has a starting role. He's expected to be a starter, and he can't perform. He gets 30 minutes a game, and he can't perform. You cannot have 30 minutes and 5 points in the playoff game. You simply can't. You need more points. You need more assists. You need more rebounds. If you're not going to get points, at least do something else. At least. Like, that's not even a debate. He needs to have that level of productivity. And if he refuses, that's his problem. Like, who am I to tell him, you have to be productive? I'm not his coach. But his coach is definitely going to be saying that, And if he doesn't want to listen, why should he get paid? He doesn't deserve any money because he hasn't done anything to deserve it. You sign a contract, you get your guaranteed, you earn the rest. We sign contracts to work. We don't get paid before we work. We get paid hourly by every shift. We don't get paid while we work. Ben Simmons has the luxury of being paid before he does any work. And he's sitting on his ass doing nothing, expecting money to be owed to him. If he was injured and he made it obvious, if he had a genuine explanation for his injuries, it would be completely understandable why he would file for that money. But there's been nothing like that since the beginning of this whole situation, since before training camp last year. Nothing. Nada. And I get it. He's hated on by his own franchises, by the people he works with, but he's done nothing. You can be hated on if you don't have an impact on your team. Players are heavily criticized every time they have a bad game because you're expected to perform well. That way the rest of your team doesn't have to work extra hard and you can glide smoothly towards a win. Ben Simmons hasn't done any of that. He has not done any of that since I'd say at least about 2019. It's 2022, people. The season's almost over. Nothing. I mean, the situation's so bad that, as Stephen A said in the opening clip, this could actually have a significant effect the next time the players and the owners go to negotiations, because they can use this example as a perfect excuse to tighten player contracts and force players to play basketball. And there are instances where you can't play basketball for several reasons, like if somebody passes away, if you're significantly injured, if you're not doing well mentally. At least you have the ability to say, I'm not doing well, I need to step aside for a bit, I can't play basketball for a while. But he's not done any of that. No explanations. And some people think, oh, you don't have to explain something like that. You do. This is basketball. This is basketball. This is a game where a single player can have a massive effect on a team. Just one player. One player can turn a team from potential contender to a finalist, a championship contender. Not just a playoff contender, not just middle of the pack, not just a 3 seed, a 1 seed. One player, this is the game of basketball, this isn't baseball, this isn't football. One player has the potential to change everything. And the opposite is true. Losing a player has the potential to change everything. They don't have Ben Simmons, Philadelphia, or the Nets. Philadelphia at least was able to manage because they got James Harden, who's actually been doing quite well for them, surprisingly enough. The Nets have been struggling offensively. They lost Kyrie as well. They lost two key players. They lost so much production that they actually fell to a 7 seed, despite being touted as a 1 seed, a 2 seed, a 3 seed in the East. It's so hilarious, the situation that's going on here. It's funny, especially watching Kevin Durant, somebody who was ring chasing about 3 or 4 years ago, sticking to the Golden State Warriors. It got so bad for him that he had to leave because he knew damn well what he was doing was wrong. 2 rings, 2 finals MVPs, one of them a sweep against a Cleveland team that was hurt, damaged, injured to hell. It's so hilarious. Like, it's funny. But apart from that whole Kevin Durant thing, all of his situation is so bad. Like, Ben Simmons is an abject failure within this league. He's not done anything of note. I think he won like Rookie of the Year or something. I might be wrong on that, but he's not done anything of note. And in this league, in order to be any sort of good basketball player, in order to even have a role on a team, you need to be productive, and he has not done that for several years now. Kawhi Leonard, he's notorious for being that kind of player. You know, he sits his ass down whenever he gets injured. He doesn't come back for a while. When he's on the court, he has more than enough of an impact to a team to win a championship. We saw that in Toronto, you know. The reason he got traded to Toronto was because he wasn't doing shit in San Antonio. Ben Simmons can't even do that. Like, I guarantee you, if he were to lace up tonight, he'd drop like 24 but have 5 turnovers. Yeah, great, you dropped 24 points, but they scored like 15 off of your turnovers because you don't know how to handle the ball properly. You don't know how to shoot. Go 6 for 11 on the field. It's sad. It's pathetic. That's what it is. And this has its roots in Philadelphia. It has its roots in Australia. It has its roots in everything he's been doing up until this point. He has been a quitter. A sad, sad quitter. And if he ever watches this, he's probably not going to. I hate hating on a guy like this so much, but he needs to hear this. I'm sure people close to him are telling him this. I'm sure Joel is telling him this. KD is telling him this. Because this is a team that's about to get swept in the first round after being expected to make it to the finals. Like, for real, the Brooklyn Nets have no reason to get swept. Everybody said they were going to win. Everybody. All the analysts, all the predictors, Lakers, Nets in the finals. Lakers didn't even make the playoffs. At least they actually had a reason. These guys barely managed to squeak into the first round and are about to get swept by a Celtics team that, for all intents and purposes, hasn't done anything notable in the playoffs since they got their asses whipped by LeBron. But, you know, those Celtics are going to go win a championship. The Bucks are going to go win a championship. The Suns are going to go win a championship. What has the 76ers done? It's been 4, 5, 6 years since this process started. Nothing has happened. Joel Embiid will win MVP almost definitely. Either Joel or Jokic. But apart from that, nothing's happening with this team. If they make it past the second round, yeah, they actually might have a chance to win the championship. But they might blow this lead to Toronto. And if they blow the lead to Toronto, there's no redemption for the 76ers team. There has to be a reset. Because this is 5, 6 years of the same stuff. Losing in horrible fashion. Don't forget that dagger in Game 7. Don't forget Joel Embiid walking away crying. There's no reason, right? And that's just the 76ers. I haven't even touched on the Brooklyn Nets. This is a team that has been a disappointment from the moment it assembled itself. Last year was the only meaningful year in which I saw any production from this team. And through no fault of Kevin Durant, which is a puzzling sentence to say, the team has not been playing well. They have not played well at all. You know, he hasn't had Kyrie there to support him. But trading for Ben Simmons while he's not doing shit in Philadelphia. I don't know who thought that would be a good idea, right? In the time, people must have thought, hey, he's going to play now because he's not in Philadelphia anymore. He hit it in Philly. But he's not touched his laces, bro. He's getting paid to do nothing. He's a bench rider. He's actually a bench rider. He's done a damn thing this entire playoffs. And it shows. It's sad, right? What else can I say about this situation? If Ben Simmons wants to lace up tonight, he's gonna bear the brunt of the heat. He's gonna take some sort of blame, because this outcome could have been so much different. Like, Kyrie, I'll let off the hook because he's played well since he's come back. I'll let him off the hook because he always plays well. But Simmons, he doesn't play well, and he's entitled, and he doesn't want to play basketball. It's not like he played basketball well to begin with. Like, damn. You know, the last playoff game Ben Simmons played, June 20th, 2021, against Atlanta, he played for 36 minutes. He had 5 points. 5. Not even double digits. This guy has a starting position. 5 points. That's sad. I've been your boy, Purple Whale. Make sure you subscribe. Check out some more videos if you're interested. I'll see you guys later. Peace.